Good day and welcome to our short video on how to set up Google Analytics. We're going to assume you know nothing and that you have nothing other than a Google Gmail address. So what I mean by that is just a Gmail account. All right, let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is go to analytics.google.com and sign in with your Gmail account. We are now logged into Analytics using a Gmail account, but what it doesn't know is what domain we want to analyze and we want to measure. So let's click Start Measuring and run through the setup. So just put a name in the top, doesn't make any difference what you call it. And I am going to share the data with Google throughout. You probably don't want to, but I'm going to. And let's not belabor that point and just click Next. Okay, now property name. What is the name of your domain? In my case, it's a domain called Talentera Inc. So I'm just going to type the name in, and this is in Calgary, Canada. So I'm just going to type in Canada. And no, I'm not in Vancouver. I'm in Edmonton time. The currency is not British pound. There it is, Canadian CAD. There we go. Okay, now let's look at advanced options just for fun. So Universal Analytics property. You would think Universal Analytics is the new thing, but it's actually an older thing. And Universal Analytics was a code system that we had to change to a few years ago, and Google has already pretty much scrapped it. So, all right, let's click Next. And let's answer a few questions. So in this case, this is a small business. They've got 2 or 3 people, so let's go with small. And what are we going to use analytics for? In our case, we're going to use it to optimize the website. We don't want to know what web pages people are going to, and we want to know where they're coming from. So I'm going to select both of those things. So let's click Create. And a bit shockingly, it thinks we're still in the Kingdom. So we'll select Canada, which changes the terms just ever so slightly. And you know we're going to read this so carefully. Right, whatever. Next, skip. And then same thing. Whatever, skip. You really don't have a choice. It's not like you can negotiate with them, so just accept it and move on. All right, so how much do you want Google to annoy you with messaging? Because this is new, I want actually to receive all of this stuff. So I'm going to select all of these things. Most people will probably just want to select offers from Google and performance suggestions. Most people will skip these two in the middle. Click Next or Save. And what this says is it's going to give you some information that it thinks is useful to you, and it'll be customized to you. So navigate, yeah, on the left are reports. Okay, got that. Click the X and close that. And I don't want to take up your time. Now it's trying to help you set it up. What we've got to do is set up the website. Now, if you had an app, you could add this particular code to the app. But in this case, I'm just working on a website. So I'm just going to click Web. And I'm going to paste in my website name. You, of course, will probably just type it in, but again, I like to capitalize these things just because it's easier to read, but you don't have to. Website name, the URL, the Universal Resource Locator, the address does matter. So make sure you got that correct. Now, enhanced measurement. Yes, you want enhanced measurement. You want to know everything you could possibly know about somebody visiting your site. Now, click this little cog on the right-hand side if you want to know exactly what they can measure. And it's pretty cool. They can measure a lot of stuff. The scrolls thing is really one of the most interesting things that they offer. When you have a page that is fairly long, it's kind of neat to know where on the page people are looking. And you might think, well, I don't really care as long as they look at it. Okay, but you know what does care? Advertisers. So if you have ads on your site, this little scroll tracking will let advertisers place ads automatically on your site in the right place. Now, what we're doing here has nothing to do with advertising. So I don't want to confuse you with that, but that's what that scroll information sort of comes in with in the future. So it's kind of neat. Also, where are they going when they leave? Kind of neat. Okay, so I'm just going to, well, there's nothing I've changed here, so I'm just going to press the X and I'm going to click Create Stream. And now you can see there's all kinds of detail down at the bottom here that you don't need to be concerned with at this point. And you'll also notice it says there's no data within the last 48 hours. That's right. Well, we haven't hooked it up yet, but even after we hook it up, it's going to take a while to connect. Okay, so at this point, what we need to do is go off to our website and edit it. We need to add that unique number in to the site. So let's go to, in my case, talentaireinc.com. I need to sign in. In my case, it's a WordPress site. If yours is not WordPress, you'll need to add that code using whatever works for you. Log in. Now, because this is WordPress, there are a lot of ways to do it. Of course, WordPress is the biggest platform in the world for websites by a good stretch, so there's a lot of ways. But I'm going to do it the easiest way, and I suggest you do the same because there's some extra features here that you'll probably like. So let me go to Plugins and select Add New Plugin. And we will search for Google Analytics. And you'll notice the first thing is something called SiteKit. And you think, what is that? That's a lot of stuff. But it's actually by Google, and this is the one you should use. Let's click on Install Now. And I say it's the one you should use because it's Google itself, and it does tie in other things like AdSense, which are ads. You do not have to have ads for this to work, by the way. It ties in your Search Console information. It's just very helpful, and it gets the information directly to Google without any weirdness. So let's click Activate now. And then SiteKit will show up in the top left here. There it is. Now let's do Start Setup, but all it's going to do is take us here. Yeah, there we go. Connect to Google Analytics and activate it. There we go. And I will also help them improve their operations by providing extra data. So let's sign in with Google. There we go. Okay, so that went through, and now it wants to know what SiteKit, what Google can connect to. And I want it to connect everything. Let's click Continue here. More verification. Click Verify. Would you like metrics on the dashboard? Search Console. Now the Search Console is really handy, and if you haven't set it up before, you should. So let's click Setup. And set up Google Analytics. Yes, that's correct. Let's click Next. We select the account. From an HR, that's the one. Now, in the old days, and I say the old days being like, a year or two ago, you used to have to manually put that code in. But now you can just sign into SiteKit. It's kind of neat. So let's click Configure Analytics. Sure. Proceed. And continue. Yay! Okay, so I'll click OK, got it, because I just want to clear this message off. Gathering data. There's nothing available yet. Check back later. Okay, so I'm going to have to wait probably a day for this to actually be useful. And just to test it, I'm going to surf to it. And I'm going to click through, I'm going to refresh, and I'm going to click through a few pages just so that there's some traffic generated. This is the weekend of a small corporate site, so it may not be as busy as I would like, and I want to make sure that there's lots of data. Well, there's some data there later for us to look at. Okay. Now, let's go close that and look at what SiteKit has brought. It will tell us most of the optimization stuff that we care about, certainly the stuff Google cares about, and if Google cares about it, you and I probably care about it. So it'll tell you what pages are really slow, it'll make suggestions as to how to speed them up. If you've got Google Ads, which is Google AdSense, that's their ad business, you'll have monetization information. So let's just scroll down, and you can see it's still gathering data. It just doesn't have enough information at this point. And you can see we don't have AdSense set up. Okay, it's the next day, and you can see I've had a small amount of traffic. So let's just take a quick look at what has been analyzed for us. 33% of this was organic search, and 2/3 of it was people going directly in to the site. Let's go to Locations, Canada, and the US. And you can see all of these were done by desktop. Now let's drill into content, and you'll notice all it really does is scroll us down the page here, right? And we can see the top queries for the site. That's all well and good, but that's all inside of WordPress. Let's go back to analytics, and there's a couple of things we should finish off in here, I think. I will refresh this page. There we go. So this is an old code that I'm not using, and this is the new code that I am using. All right, so let's finish off the setup in here. Let's go to property settings and select the industry. I'm going to put that as business and industrial. All right, so I've set that up now. I can click back here, but there's really nothing I'm too worried about. Really what I want over here are the reports. Now you'll notice that there's not a lot of data here. Of course, that's correct. There just isn't. But that's just because we've just started. Over time, what you'll find is there'll be a lot of data collected. And one of the things that you really need to notice is at the top right-hand corner, there's a date filter. So you can set it to whatever you want, including custom. The only caveat I would highlight here is that today literally means today, like midnight to now. It's not the last 24 hours. So let's go through and look at a few of these reports. So we'll go to View Acquisition. In fact, let's flip over to one of my sites that has lots of data so you can see what you should expect. So here we go. This is one of our websites. You can see right now I've got 17 users on it currently. You can see that on the weekend, things slow down. Not much of a surprise. You can see where I'm getting my traffic from. Everything from paid search to referrals. And by the way, you might think that these dots at the bottom indicate, the titles for the vertical bars. They don't. That the color does. So you can see paid search. I have a teeny tiny little bit there. Right, so 157. Let's go to referrals, and you see YouTube refers, social.technet, Bing, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. Now I can click on the full acquisition report, but for the moment, what I'm going to do is just click, let's go into the countries and take a look at where it's popular. So let's go to the location overview. And you can see the top 10, right? US, UK, Canada, India, blah, 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 blah. And you can see that by the time I get down to my 10th most popular country, I'm down to 1.4%. But there are a lot more countries than just 10. So I can change that number at the bottom, and I can take a look and see what's going on in these other countries. So I get traffic from all over the world with the site. And let's see how they get here. So let's click on Technology, Browser, and OS. And you can see Chrome is 62% of my traffic, and Edge is 18% of the traffic. And then there's a little bit of Apple and Firefox and so on and so forth. Okay, let's go to interests. And this is quite interesting. Let's go to overview. So the people that are on my site, this is what their general backgrounds are. So you can see here that this is about half of my traffic. These are the things that these people are interested in generally. Now let's drill into what people like. I'm going to change this from 10 at the bottom again to 50, just really to demonstrate what's there. Now let's go down to user flow. This is quite interesting. It shows you how people from, well, whatever your source is here, in this case country, flow through your site. So I'll change it from country to, well, let's click on users and get something a little more interesting. So let's go to operating system. So let's click on the operating system. So we'll see how people that are connecting from different systems flow. So that's Windows. Then let's click on Android and click highlight traffic through here. And then let's click on, let's see how the Mac people do. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, now let's go to, is it demographics? Yes, it is. So let's see how people of different ages do. Well, let's click the overview first. We'll go through this. Okay, so you can see my target market is really 25 to 54. Which makes sense for IT stuff. Let's drill into gender here. I'll bet this skews male because the industry skews male. And clearly it does. Male is orange, female are green. So, but you can see it's far from zero, right? This is for women. There's still a fair number of women. Yeah, 21% of the traffic is coming from women. And I can change that date. Let's go to, let's do the last year here. I'll just change that. Click apply. All right, so you can see my traffic slows down on the weekends and picks up on the weekdays. Okay, so you get the idea that there's a lot of data that this collects and makes available to you free of charge. Hey, would really appreciate it if you would click like on this if you found it useful. Subscribe is always appreciated as well. And we'd love you to visit us at www.urtech, that's www.urtech.ca. If you have a question or comment, just put it in the section below and we'll get back to you. Or like I said, you can always get a hold of us at urtech.ca. Thanks and have a great day. Bye-bye.